What's up, guys? This is Bear Evans. So today I'm going to dive into all of my small bags that were inside my kit, and I've got my hygiene kit, my medical kit, my maps bag, my possibles bag, and my food bag. So I'm going to try and fly through these as quickly as possible because it's a lot of little stuff. So I'm not going to go into too much detail for everything, more of just show you guys what's in here. So what needs to go back in here are 3 large gauze pads, some Band-Aids, some hydrocortisone cream, some Neosporin, some medical tape, and more Band-Aids. So just some basic first aid stuff. That's about all I carry with me when I'm out by myself or just maybe with 1 or 2 other people. This container is nothing but little shampoos and soaps and stuff. Just stuff that I've collected from working while I'm in hotels and stuff like that. You don't have to have this. This is just something I like to have for the summer because when I do longer trips, it's nice to be able to just kind of scrub up a little bit. You know, you just get that kind of false sense of clean. It's not a shower by any means, but you can at least scrub up your hands and your face. You know, hit the essentials. So, all the colored bags are just cheap dry bags I picked up from Walmart. You can pick them up for like $5 or $6. Some Vaseline for the winter, and as a fire starter if you really wanted to. Some alcohol prep pads, some wet wipes. I don't remember what's in here. This might be, yeah, this was empty. This is just an extra canister for anything that I really need. I believe same for this, yes. These are just old metal film containers. You can find them kind of here and there. They're kind of hard to find in decent shape. So let's get some more of this pulled out. Toothbrush, toothpaste, some matches, more wet wipes. I've got some of these Wisp toothbrushes, just good for a nice quick little washing if you need anything. These actually don't need to be in there anymore. It's just some Velcro stuff. Small sewing kit. Really it's a small patch kit because there's some canvas and denim and stuff in there. Just stuff that might help benefit repairing gear. More of those wisps. More alcohol prep pads. I've got a Mostly Gone toothpaste, which I don't like taking the big things, but because it was almost empty, I threw it in there just so it didn't go to waste. Some more alcohol prep pads. More prep pads. Toilet paper. This is probably about I don't know, half a roll to 3/4 of a roll of toilet paper. I've got my big roll that I keep ready access. This is just kind of an emergency backup, and more wet wipes. So this pouch is a lot of smaller, finer stuff. I'm not going to tear everything out of here, but there's some hand warmers in there. Just some, like an emergency package of napkins. More alcohol prep pads. There's a bleed arrest, which is that blood clotting. It's like a tab almost. Let's see. Looks like some bug spray wipes, some sunscreen wipes, and a couple other packs of matches. It's all so tight in there I don't want to rip everything out. So that's everything for my hygiene pouch. Now, I know this is a lot of stuff, but I don't necessarily always take all of this with me camping. My gear always changes before a trip. I keep everything together in case of an emergency, and I need to grab as much as I can as quickly as I can because I know all of this can and will fit in my pack and I can carry it. But that doesn't mean I always do. So just bear that in mind with all of these different little pouches and everything. Alright, so this is my what I call my maps bag. There's more than just maps in here. You'll see everything here in just a sec. So first off, we do have all of my maps. Now, the maps change depending on where I'm going, where I'm living. So I have maps for my entire region here. Anything down from, I have a town map of where I live, I have a county map of where I live, I have a regional map of all of the part of the state that I live in, and then I have a bigger regional map, which is like the surrounding 3 or 4 states and both Great Lakes and parts of Canada. In case you don't know or have forgotten, I live in Western New York. So I'm kind of right in the corner of a lot of different areas. So it's really, really good to have maps of everything, so you know where you're going, so you can tell people where you're going. If you get lost, you can find your way out. You can, you know, if you have a radio, you can call in. Like if you're really, really lost, you can call in different landmarks and see if, you know, somebody local knows where you are. In case of a severe emergency, I have a copy of Morse code printed out. I don't know Morse code completely by heart. I know enough to kind of get by. I know enough to send out and signal some small codes, but that's about it. A couple of pencils. Why pencils? Because you can shave them down, sharpen them with your knife. You can sharpen them with a sharp rock. You can grind them on a rock. Pens are unreliable. And I've got some just blank sheets of paper in here as well. Next, I have my little pocket ref book. So these things are actually really neat. They're fun just to kind of rifle through and read while you're, you know, hanging out in camp or, you know, reading at night. And they're just filled with tons and tons of information. Anything and everything you can think of. I mean, like for example, it's got batteries, sizes, and capacities, solid figure formulas, capacities of hydraulic rams, air receiver capacities. It's literally got torque versus RPM in motors, maximum floor joists. You know, like it's got everything that you need to reference for doing almost anything in life. Really, really nifty books. This one's small. I mean, it fits in the palm of my hand. So if you can find one of these small ones, they're a great addition to any type of gear, or just to keep at home and read or use as a reference book. Super, super handy and cool. That one was actually a gift, so I don't know how much they run, but I can't imagine they're going to be more than, I mean, 10 or 15 bucks at most. Yeah, my sticker's rubbed off, so I couldn't tell you. So this is my medicinal plants book. I like to read this when I have the time. I've learned a lot about medicinal plants just growing up, between scouts and from family and even friends. But you can always learn more, and it's a good reference guide in case you're incapacitated and somebody else needs to try and find something for you. So I like keeping this on me, just, you know, keep reading and learning as much as I can about medicinal plants. And like I said, in the off chance that there's an emergency, somebody else can reference it as well. And then on the flip side, I have a leather-bound notebook. More than anything, it really serves as kind of a photo album. Keep some of my favorite photos in there just to look through while I'm out in the bush. I do have a pen with this, but in case that fails, I do have my pencils. Depending on what I'm doing, I will keep notes in here. If I'm doing any type of field research, I'll use this. If I am doing any type of, you know, historical research or anything like that, this is my go-to. Really good for just sketching quick little maps or reference points or jotting down locations or anything like that. It does have like actual lined paper inside of this. It's meant to be used as a journal, but I don't really use it as such. It's more of just a reference book for me, so I can write things down and not have to remember them offhand. And that's everything in my maps bag. Up next, we have my Possibles pouch. I've had this pouch for, geez, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. I've had it for ages. I've loved it for a lot of different things. At one point, this was my med kit. Sorry, I'm shaking the camera. The table I'm using isn't very sturdy. I've used this as my med kit. It's been my Possibles pouch for a while. It was my food bag for a little while. Eventually, I would like to, upgrade this to something more of one solid pocket, or pouch, whatever, however you want to phrase it. This one is great. It holds all of my possibles, but it'd be nicer just to have one solid containment for everything. Plus, this size and shaped pouch doesn't really fit well with everything else in my gear once it's all packed up. So something a little different needs to change, and I'm looking at doing that hopefully this year. First off, I've got a big hank of jute twine. Really, really good stuff. You can use it as cordage for anything and everything. You can use it as a fire tinder. This is a 50-pound test fishing line. I think there's, I don't know, 30 or 40 yards of it here. Just in case. Once in a while I'll have my fishing rod with me, or if you need to make an improvised one, or you just need some extra cordage. It's nice that it's, you know, bright fluorescent green, so if you were using it to tie off points on a tarp or something, you'd be able to see it in the middle of the night, even though it's super thin. Any type of light catches this and you'll see it. Yeah, so that's that. Next, I've got a big hank of good old black 550 paracord. I believe this is a 100-foot hank, and I'll just pull from this as I need while I'm camping. Everybody knows that stuff. If you don't, you'll learn about it pretty quick. In this side, I've got my 9-hour emergency candles. I've got 3 of them. I kind of really want to buy one of those lanterns that you put these things in. I've seen them more and more over the last few years, and I think I'm kind of sold on them. So next time I see one, I'll probably pick one up. And then just an emergency blanket, you know, standard Mylar, good old, you know, keep you warm blanket. This side is my fishing kit. Just a small little tackle box. I've got some really basic stuff in here. Like I said, I don't do a lot of fishing right now. I don't have my license or anything, so I fish on private land, and beyond that, this is more of just an emergency kit. So I've got more fishing line in here, small multi-tool, some lures, a lot of lures actually on this side. Put that closed on there. It's kind of funny, I've had this little pocket tackle box since I was probably like 5 or 6, and I can't believe it's lasted this long. I love this little thing. More lures, more hooks, lots and lots of hooks and lures, and then same on this side, more lures, hooks, and sinkers. So I've got all the basics. You know, I'm not trying to dazzle anyone with this. It's just meant to be functional. So in this front pouch here, we have a spare inhaler, more tissues, bug spray, the good stuff. This is almost 99% D. It's 98 point something. Moist towelettes and a handkerchief. Just a good old cotton bandana. You know, 1001 uses for those. This pouch is nice because it has a lot of different places to stuff different sized things, a lot of different pouches to keep everything segregated, but I don't really need that for this particular gear. If you're looking for a pouch like this, it came with a shoulder strap. It has the molly webbing on the back. It attaches really easily to any type of molly webbing system, and you can attach other stuff to it as well. It's got the end straps there, front straps there, and more on this end, and more on the back if you just wanted to use this pouch as a singular system. So, going into the main cavity here, I've got a little sterno fuel stove. I'm looking at investing in an actual burner stove this year, you know, one of the small hiking sized ones, but for now this still works great. I've used these for years. You just can't, you know, beat the simplicity of them. You light it, you put it out, it's good, and they last for a long time. I can get several days of use out of those. This is my cleaning kit. I've got my oil and a toothbrush wrapped up in an old oily rag. Really nice just for touching up your gear while you're out in the bush, cleaning your gear if it, if you get sand or dust or what have you inside of it. Char tin, and a really big one, but I keep some extra emergency tinder in here. Right now I've got birch bark, and I tried something new which I haven't tried using yet, but I took cotton balls and I made char cloth out of cotton balls. I want to see how well those work. I was curious to see if they would actually take a better spark because there was more fluff to them than to traditional char cloth. But good old char tin. We've got some zip ties, just really basic. I think they're 50-pound test zip ties. I've got my neck knife. It's a CRKT neck knife. Super small little blade, but really wicked sharp. I've used this as a skinning type knife before. It's nice and fat bellied. It's not huge, but it gets the job done. And like I said, you can wear it around your neck. I've got my hank of paracord there for using it just as such. I've got some electrical tape. I don't remember what this is offhand. Some of these things I changed the containers for, and I can't remember what I put in them until I pull it back out. So this is a new addition. I don't smoke, but I've got a pack of Camels in here, just a soft pack because it fit perfectly in here. And that's more for comfort items for somebody else, in a traumatic situation, like a shock situation, or any type of major natural disaster emergency, anything like that where, people who normally smoke don't have them, or, they just need that kind of reassurance. They need something to do, even if they don't smoke. I've seen people who don't smoke go into shock and, ask for a smoke, and then they never touch another one in their lives. So it's just good to have, and you can always use it as like a temporary punk stick if you really wanted to, if you're trying to transport fire from point A to point B. So I've got some really basic camo face paint. As you can see, the face paint is untouched in this. I use this more for the mirror, so which actually needs cleaned. It's just good to have a mirror on you at any given point in time, and the face paint is just kind of a fun, addition. AAA batteries for my headlamp. Sharpening stone that goes in tandem with my tool maintenance. Deck of playing cards. AA batteries for my flashlight. An old inner tube for a bike tire to make Ranger bands. If you don't know what a Ranger band is, all you do is snip off the tip of this and you get a really heavy duty rubber band that holds gear together. And a couple of pulleys. I used to have probably 100 of these things, and I've used them over time. I've lost some over time, but they're really neat and cool to use for, if you have like a super heavy food bag that you need lifted into the air, or even a cooler. You use these in tandem with some paracord and you can hoist it no problem. So these are both doubles, so you get two doubles going, and it's basically like hoisting nothing. And then we've got this guy, which actually has two Ranger bands on it for reference. And this is just an emergency fire starting kit. I've got two wet fires in here, a lighter, one of my old fire steels that's still in good shape, and it's got some Gorilla Tape wrapped around it, a pack of matches, and this whole container is filled with magnesium shavings. I have an old magnesium block to take the shavings from if I use them up. I try not use it too often, but if anything is super wet or anything like that, then it's nice to superheat it with the magnesium and really get things going. It can make fire starting a heck of a lot easier for you. Just get that back on there. Alrighty, and I believe that's everything for the possibles pouch. So let me get this cleaned up and we'll move on to my first aid kit. Okay, so this is my big first aid kit. This is the one that I take with me when I'm with a large group of people, or if I'm going to have my vehicle with me and can just leave it in the car. So right off the bat, I've got some glow sticks. This is more just for emergency marking. If it's dark and someone gets hurt, you can either illuminate the trail, you can put them on whoever's injured so that you don't lose them. Heaven forbid someone's unconscious or can't speak or anything. You can mark them, not lose them accidentally. It can serve as an emergency light for you. Just throw one on your wrist, you can read paperwork, anything like that. And then on top of that right here is just a cheap little pen light, but it's a really nice, super strong LED. This is just a cheap Rayovac. You can get them at Kmart, Walmart, any of those types of places. I think it takes one AAA. Really, really good. The batteries in these things last forever. They're good for checking pupil dilation in anybody. You're not going to blind somebody like with a regular flashlight using those. And then I've got an emergency poncho, just in case you need to keep somebody dry, keep you dry, keep a scene dry, anything like that. And this pouch is actually really cool. It's a big 3-pouch system with a large, kind of have a half pouch here. You can slide stuff in through the sides here. You can stuff stuff in through the top. Really, really handy. So this top pouch is just all the big emergency general kind of triage stuff. So we've got another thing of triple antibiotic, another thing of hydrocortisone cream, rubber gloves, an ice pack, another emergency hailer. I've got 3 different types of medical tape. I don't like using, well, I should say 3 different sizes. So this is all the cloth medical tape. This works best in my opinion. The plastic stuff is shit. The paper stuff is shit. And a lot of people have bad reactions to the plastic tape. They have like hives and like an allergic reaction like they do to latex. So I prefer this stuff, and it's a little more durable once it gets wet. It doesn't just start peeling off the skin. Like if somebody uses plastic tape on me, if I even get slightly sweaty, it just immediately pops off. So this is really good stuff. I've got a big roll of fresh gauze, stays in the package to keep it clean. Hand sanitizer, a big fresh container of it. 99 uses for this stuff. Another bleed arrest hemostat strip. Ammonia inhalant. I have a snake bite kit, and a sting kit. So the way this thing works, and you're always going to hear 20 different ways that people say, oh, you should do this for a snake bite, oh, you should do this, you shouldn't do that, shouldn't do that. These things are what I've found work best in an emergency scenario. It comes with a little disposable razor to clean to remove hair around the affected area. It's got alcohol strips in here and sting relief to clean around the area. It's got a tutorial pamphlet here for you. Different suction sizes depending on what you're doing, and then the actual extraction. And it's just a standard plunger style thing. It's meant to suck out any type of poison or venom, or like if you get a bee sting, sucks out all the venom from the stinger and possibly the stinger if you can't get it out with tweezers or with a knife or anything like that. Works really, really nice. I've used this a few times for like hornet stings and stuff like that. Big triangular bandage. I've gone over those in previous videos. More rubber gloves, just in a baggie, so you can throw these in a pocket if need be. More gauze. An emergency ACE wrap. You've seen these 1,000 times. You probably have a few of them lying around your house. You use them to brace a limb, wrist, hand, anything, knee, ankle, to immobilize, to help, if you sprain an ankle or you twist a knee or you tear a muscle, this helps keep everything where it should be and helps keep the pain at bay. I have a small sewing kit in here, just an emergency thing. This is actually my old Boy Scout one. So this thing's probably 20 years old. A little worse for wear, but can't ask for better. Again, just an emergency little sewing kit. CPR mask. You put this over whoever needs CPR and you perform CPR, and it keeps you from catching anything. I have another large ace wrap, super glue. Go over this in a second. More gauze pads. And that's everything from in here. So this is my emergency surgical kit. It's got alcohol prep pads, tweezers, medical scissors, cuticle cutters, safety pin, and this thing is actually really, really nice. So I've got hemostats, more scissors. If you don't know what a hemostat is, you might know them as forceps. Just something like that. Not the most expensive thing to buy, but really good to have. I've got multiples in here. I think I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 pairs. So in lieu of an emergency, you can clamp an artery. You can do a lot of stuff with this. Do not use these if you don't know what you're doing. If you want to learn, go take first aid classes. The Red Cross does a lot of them. If you know any local EMTs, have some of them teach you the basics, or go take an EMT class. You can. There's a lot of different preventative things that you can do to learn. I learned a lot of different triage stuff when I was in Scouts. I've done all the first aid stuff, all the Red Cross stuff, a lot of the EMT stuff. So really, really handy in case of a real dire emergency. I would not suggest using any of this unless you absolutely had to, but that's why I have it, in case I absolutely need it. I've got the blades for my scalpel. I believe there's 6 in here. So, and a couple big pairs of tweezers for really reaching in, pulling out fragments or shrapnel, whatever you want to call it. So let me just stuff some of this stuff back in here and get it out of the way. And like I said before, I don't always carry this, but it's really good to have when I'm in a big group of people, or if I have my car. I really don't like traveling without this, because this is still a very basic kit. It's got a lot of the needed essentials, but that's about it. You really don't want to be caught off guard, especially when you're away from civilization. You know, having some of these things can, you know, potentially save a life, save your life, you know, anything like that. So really, really smart to keep some of this stuff on hand. And the ice pack on top. I used to have a much better first aid kit. I had an actual EMT kit, and I sold it when I moved, gosh, like 8 or 9 years ago now, and I regret that decision every day. I really miss having it. It was a fully decked out, fully stocked up med kit, and it takes a while, you know, if you're just collecting it piece by piece, to build back up to that point. So eventually I'd like to get back to that. I don't plan on buying one outright, but it may come to that if I can afford it. They can be pricey. So this stuff, I've got a lot in here. We've got some cotton balls. This is a lot of just your basic triage stuff. There's wet wipes in here. I've got tons and tons of alcohol prep pads and the iodine pads for cleaning an area, cleaning a wound. If you have somebody who has an IV kit, you can use this prepping for the IV. And I also have a secondary little emergency knife. I keep this thing razor sharp. You can actually see where it's a little burned, where I sterilized it once. Always good just to keep a separate blade for emergency scenarios. Yes, I have the scalpels, but you don't always want to use a scalpel for something unnecessarily, because if you use a scalpel wrong, you can really damage somebody. So, all types of band-aids. I've got another emergency blanket. This is moleskin. You use it on your feet for blisters. Just some trash bags, some generic, cheapy trash bags just to put garbage in, to put soiled bandages or gauze in, or if you need to keep a wound dry, you just wrap this around it, tape it off, and it's good to go. Anybody who's ever had a cast will know what I'm talking about. I've got a face mask, and then some really awesome pocket guide first aid things. Anything and everything that you can think of is in here. This is an actual old EMT book. This is like a quick direction thing for my thermometer that I have in there. And then this is a Red Cross first aid booklet. So really nice to have in case you're hurt and somebody else is trying to help you and you're unable to coach them through it. Or if you're out teaching somebody some more of the basics, you can give them booklets and stuff to read over on top of what you've taught them. Again, I apologize for all the shaky cam stuff. My tripod's not tall enough to sit on the floor, and this table is not great. So this is more of a feel-good pouch. So this is full of basic health issues. I've got a thermometer in here. I've got a couple of protein bars, some candy. I've been out on the trail before where people go into sugar shock. Diabetics can have that issue. Even regular people, if you're just pushing your body too much and not consuming enough, you'll start to feel really icky, and just eating some high sugar, high carb food will make you feel a lot better. It's preferred to drink it. Your body absorbs it quicker, and in a survival situation, the more you eat, the more water you have to drink, so you have to kind of weigh your options and see where you're at. So I've got a lot of cold medicine in here, anti-diarrheal medicine in here, just Dayquil, NyQuil, some cheap Smarties and stuff. There's a few more like alcohol prep pads and stuff in here. I've got Oragel in here. Repurpose your old pill bottles. They're great for holding stuff. These tubes, you don't want them to bust open in here. That'll protect them and keep them from leaking over everything else. I've got some painkillers in here. I'm not sure what this actual type is. Oh, unopened, perfect. Oh, this is an Aleve container. It's actually the knockoff. It's naproxen, but same thing as Aleve. I've got a finger splint in here in case you break or fracture a finger. Unopened bottle of allergy pills. And this is all pain meds. This is Aleve, Tylenol, ibuprofen, anything and everything, prepackaged. There's a few loose ones in there because one of the packages actually broke, but sealed in here. They're not going to go bad anytime soon. And that's everything for the first aid kit. So there's a lot of stuff, but it's still fairly basic. Like I said, it's not where I want it to be, but it's a lot better than most people ever think of carrying. Or even owning, for that fact. I always have quick access to all my gear, and should anything happen in my house, this is just a, quick find away. So let's get this all back tucked in here. And the case closes up nice, turns into a big square. Good solid buckle on the front. And it's good to go. It does have molly straps on the back, so you can strap this bad boy on. It also has a shoulder strap, which I chose to leave on in case I need to hike it into somewhere. And I didn't originally have it or anything like that. So that's my first aid kit. I do have a patch. It's currently on my drop leg pouch that has the red cross on it. I just still need to just stitch it on here somewhere so people know this is my med kit since it's not a red bag. Last but not least, the good old food bag. As I said in my last video, I do not always bring all of this with me. This is just my quick grab, go-to camping food. That way nothing else gets into it, nobody accidentally eats something or anything like that. So right off the bat, I've got oatmeal, peaches, actually put this on the ground and pull from there, can of olives because I like olives, big 5-pound bag of rice, more peaches, tub of peanut butter. This is a, let's see, this has got my salt shaker in there. It's got a biscuit mix, a trail mix, and a Mountain House breakfast meal, which I think is my, like the blueberries and oats or whatever it is. More oatmeal. This is all of my drink stuff. This is hot chocolate, this is cocoa, this is coffee, this is sugar and sweetener and honey packets and everything else that you might put in drinks or add to food, stuff like that. Got a big bag of beef jerky, got another 5-pound bag of rice, I've got a baggie of just protein bars. I've got some Walker shortbread. I love that stuff. This is one of those, you know, feel-good items, treat yourself type things while you're camping. And then a bag of Cliff Bars. And I believe that's everything. So that's all the food that I keep on ready access. And that's not counting stuff that I'll take to prepare a meal with, you know, like bacon, potatoes, and stuff like that. This is just the packaged long-term in the bag. If there's an emergency, I can grab this and know I have food for a very long time. Usually I'll piece out of this for while I'm going out. So that's everything, guys. That's all the small bags from the inside of my pack. It's a lot of stuff, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, I don't always carry all of that at any given time. If I've got my car, I usually do, just for variation and having extra gear in case somebody else needs an extra piece of gear, or if I want to tinker around and play and practice with something else. But if I'm just hiking in with just me and my pack, then a lot of this will not come with me. You know, pack accordingly, obviously, pack what you're comfortable carrying. And don't overburden yourself. You don't want to, you know, if you're doing a long hike, you don't want to burn out in the first day in a 9-day hike or something like that. So, as always, guys, thank you for watching. If you like the video, hit that like button, hit that little bell to get alerts when I drop new videos. Please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.